Thanks for tuning in to Show Me the Nuggets. Eduardo Trinidad here from the team at Digital Triggers. In today's bite-sized episode, we're putting a spotlight on iOS 14 and the major implications it will have on digital marketing. Facebook ads expert Nehal Kazim joins your host, Joe Troyer, to give us an analysis on what the iOS update means for the digital marketing industry. Here we go.
Obviously, iOS 14 as a rule, talking about this or recording this is going live. It's out. We're talking about major potential implications with advertising. For anybody that hasn't been following the news, can you just talk about what are the potential implications? And then let's talk about kind of your standpoint on the issue, because like we were talking about before we started, people are either like acting like this isn't happening, they're downplaying it, or it's like the end of the world as we know it. Or just, people are just burying their head in the sand, and not saying anything. So bring us up to speed on what's happening first, and then I'd love to hear your opinion.
Yeah, so at the point we're recording this, there's two parts to this. One is the adjustment that Facebook has made preemptively for the actual iOS 14 change. So there's a lot of different things going on. There's a lot of acronyms and a lot of technical implementation that's going on. And Facebook doesn't know a lot of this, what's actually being implemented or what the implications are. Neither do their ad reps. Then therefore, if they don't know, the downstream of that isn't very good or very high quality. So I won't go too much on the technical side because I don't know, no one really knows. There's a degree of it, but I do understand some of the implications. So from an advertising side, what's going to happen is people have, from an iOS standpoint, they have the ability to opt into sharing their information or opt out. And so again, the guess is that 80% or more might opt out. So Facebook's way of doing this, or hopefully preventing or decreasing that percentage, is creating their own prompt and educating people on it so they don't opt out, but most likely most people will. If someone opts out, which we're assuming that most people do, what's going to happen is you're going to lose, or we're all going to lose, a lot of the actual tracking and pixel information. So for example, if you have a funnel, you're running Facebook ads right now to an e-commerce store, there's a click, then someone views a product page, then someone adds to cart, then someone initiates checkout, and then they buy. Those are the normal, traditional steps. With iOS 14, you just see the click and you just see the purchase. All the other steps are lost in between. And so when it comes to optimization, when it comes to retargeting, part of that is there's not a lot of the demographic data is going to be gone. So if it's a man or a woman or a 55-year-old or 25-year-old, from what I've understood, that information is going to be gone. What else? That's a big part of it. So I think the important element is how will that change account structure, optimization, attribution, how we're doing conversion, because what's the underlying element here is that pixel data is going to get severely, is going to decrease significantly, because the core thing that's happening is inside of Facebook, we have the way that Facebook does attribution is 1-day view and 28-day click. So basically, if someone views an ad and buys, it will get attributed to that specific ad. And or if they click that ad, don't go to another Facebook ad or anything like that and come back and buy it within 28 days. So they buy on the 27th day, it will go back to that specific day on January 1st, even if you bought on January 27th. And so that's really interesting, because now that 28-day period is going to go down to 7 days. And so if you have a more expensive product, so we have a client that's selling furniture on Facebook, and so their average order value is $650. Their delayed attribution, meaning from the time we spend $1, the same day we make $3, but within 28 days we were making another $1.50. So 150% delayed attribution. Now that's going to get cut down. The amount of visibility we have on demographic data, conversion data, attributional data, and then how we actually make any of those decisions is going to change. So there's a lot going on. Right now, based off of this recording, the the change inside of Facebook just to roll out their internal changes have started. So they've already decreased it to 7 days. So one of our clients with that furniture company, our normal ROAS is 300% end of day. It went down to 30% overnight on Facebook, right? On the back end, though, things are working. And so the day after that, it was 170%, but we're used to 300 plus a delayed attribution of 150. So our expectations are going to change. How Facebook's going to implement all of this is going to change. And this is also before the actual iOS update has happened. So this is what I've understood so far. And we can talk about kind of the strategic side of this.
And that's so crazy. Just the attribution window I didn't really think about. I thought about the pixel data a lot, but I didn't think about the attribution side, and that's so huge. One of my business partners, they run a high ticket funnel on Facebook, and if you look at that attribution window, if you're looking at like 7 days, their cost per sale, they sell a $8,000 program, their cost per sale is like $4,000. Right. If you look at that attribution window on like, day 28, their cost per sale is like 1,500. Right. Like they could never run that funnel profitably looking at that attribution window in 7 days. Like it just,
no, it's really bad feedback loops. And in terms of the optimization of the right person, that's a huge problem. There are like the conversions API, so people will hear about CAPI, and there's implementation on that, but it's not clear that even if you have that data and you put it into Facebook, will it actually attribute back? And will Facebook take ownership of that? Will they block it? Or will they say, look, if you can update information however you want, it's up to you guys, it's your data. And then that's where kind of things get a lot more gray. And so I think with all that said, there's a lot more implications to this. We're trying to figure out all the things that are potentially going to break or potentially going to have breakthroughs. But the reality is that at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that, including right now, are completely checked out, not looking at this, not considering like options. And for us, and this is really important, when this kind of stuff happens, we are super grateful for it and we attack. So we're in offensive mode. Same thing, like, transparently, 40%, 50% of our clients, we had emergency internal meetings last week. So in the second week of January, just to figure out performance stuff preemptively before it goes even worse, right? Because other people aren't doing that. You're just assuming that things are going to break, and they are, but how do we react? And so what we want to do is, same thing happened pre-COVID. We felt it, and then COVID really happened. Then we really felt it just like everyone else, but we were able to come out on the other side a lot more aggressively and profitably for our clients, because we're trying to figure out. No one knows, but if you're not attacking it, then like this is a very performance-based environment. And people who aren't aggressive, proactive, in problem-solving mode, aren't in victim mindset, like those are the people who are going to win. Everyone else is going to kind of get leftovers. And we just saw that with COVID very clearly.
Yeah, for sure. I think like during COVID, like the leadership of some people like just took off, and others just, completely buried their head in the sand, and businesses were ruined from it. But the people that really, went on the offense and figured out solutions and really reacted, I think without question, like all of them ended up doing really, really well. You look at like everybody that jumped in with PPP, and we're talking about how to get it, and EIDL and all of that, major like leadership roles in the industry, and their businesses were forever changed, whether they were accountants or CPAs or just business people, or it doesn't matter, but their influence just like spread like wildfire. So I think that there's a huge opportunity to do the same with this.
And there's a massive degree of luck. That's definitely part of this process. And so I'll take all of it, but like the harder I work, the luckier I get. Like that's my approach. And there's also the mental health side of this, which is how do you actually manage you, and how do you manage your emotions? Because I'm preparing myself and my team, like, look, what happens if we lose 30 to 50% of our revenue? Like you guys will have jobs, but like you need to understand kind of where I'm coming from and the way that I need to address this, because this is serious potentially. So could it be that? We don't know, but I'm ready for that. hopefully we are able to overcome that in a quarter. If it hits as bad as I think it can, but hopefully it doesn't. So far, so good, and we want to be ready.
Yeah, man, something to definitely keep an eye on.
Thanks for tuning in and Show Me the Nuggets. If you've been enjoying the podcast and find our content helpful, please visit our Apple Podcast page, hit the subscribe button, and leave us a review. Joe and the whole team have been working hard to bring more value to the show. Your feedback will go a long way in helping us make the show better and reach a wider audience.